a missile defense system across the Persian Gulf. American officials said.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars.
The following is a Going Beyond Radio live presentation. GoingBeyondRadio.com, for the best in live podcast alternative entertainment.
Were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, just that star-spangled banner, yeah, wave for the land under the frame, you're the home of the brave.
Don't be afraid, this is a low fat, and you are listening to HonestAnswerRadio.com. Now, where is the egg roll you guys promised me?
The views and opinions expressed on the Honest Answer Radio show are the opinions of Honest Answer Media and no one else. If you're hearing a syndicated broadcast of this show, don't hold it against the broadcaster. Rather, congratulate them on their openness, tolerance, and respect for the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America. Thank you very much.
Tax the rich, feed the poor. Joe, there are no rich no more. Population keeps on bleeding.
And welcome one more time to Honest Answer Radio. If you're hearing a beeping sound in the background, we're working on establishing our connection with one of the syndicators. So just bear with us as this continues. We'll try to keep going. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm going to be the Marty half of your dynamic hosting duo this evening.
What day is today?
Today's Thursday.
Okay, it's Thursday.
www.goingbeyondradio.
Okay.
Hello. There we go.
There we go.
Sorry,
Okay.
y'all. Okay. Today, since it's Thursday, I'm going to be the Casey half.
Well, I hope so.
Tomorrow night, I may be Loretta. But
Well, I always was kind of partial to Loretta. You look so cute in your little Loretta dress.
well, it's a special fabric, and I have those specially made.
Wasn't it? Now, dude.
Now you didn't even mention nothing about kicking the
I was just
mainstream
finna
media
say,
in the teeth.
are you giving me a chance?
Can we just say that tonight, instead of that, I'm trying to cut you off, see, before you get there. Because can we just say we're going to kick progressivism in the teeth tonight? Do you think that fits pretty much?
You know what? I think it does. I think that that's a little bit more than applicable.
The lamestream may or may not get it in the teeth tonight. It depends on if we get around to those pikers or not.
All right.
All right. But progressivism is definitely going to get a kick in the teeth tonight. So carry on.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well, I don't really know where to start. I've got some really juicy stuff tonight. Like, I think we'll lead off tonight. We've been, trying to figure out just what in the world is going on over there with the Republican Party. And we've got a little bit of insight into that that's starting to come out more and more. I've also got I don't have any audio on that, but I do have other audio. I've got John Boehner being kind of snarky today with a reporter. I thought it was pretty cool. I got an awesome commercial tonight for Obamacare that the Heritage Foundation was.
I have not yet actually gotten to see this commercial yet, so I think that's going to be a treat for me tonight.
Oh yeah, you're going to love this, dude. Also, this what is it? The college or campus? Can't think of the organization. It's like campus something or another. Anyway, this guy's doing a survey, and it's a YouTube video, and he's asking college students at not just a historically extremely liberal university, but a historically extremely liberal state,
Colorado.
He's asking who is to blame for this shutdown. Who should be shouldering most of this.
I think the answers may surprise some people.
I know they surprised me. Also, I've got some audio of Congressman Jim Jordan.
Yes, for Michigan, I believe.
He is
representative.
He is questioning Sarah Hall Ingram from the IRS. Now, she was Lois Lerner's boss. She's now...
she's at the head of the Affordable Care Act, the implementation of the Affordable Care Act. She's the same one that I posted yesterday, a video of Trey Gowdy grilling the same woman. Right. So this was in that same little She was on the state, one big barbecue grill.
Yeah. And now this is not so much him questioning her as him summing up his thoughts on it, and I think he spoke for a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm starting to really. You and I were talking about this in the car the other day. That Jim Jordan is another person whose name we really haven't mentioned enough, as far as out of the House of Representatives. He's definitely. I think we can say he's one of the good guys, right?
Yeah. And I think that's pretty safe to say.
So I think we just need to make that point that we really like this Jim Jordan, and he's sounds to me when him and Trey Gowdy could be like soulmates as far as their angle of attack sometimes.
Yeah, we're starting to there are some faces in the Republican Party now that I don't know if they're going to be a part of the Republican Party forever.
Right.
And we'll get into that, why I would say that, in just a few minutes. I've got one more piece of audio tonight, and it's one of the hot mic moments. Harry Reid on a hot mic.
Oh no!
Trying to tell
wait,
Washington D.C.'s
Now there was
mayor
one
that he's
time when
about
he
to
got
mess
on a
up.
hot. Look, now one time he got on a hot mic, and we couldn't play it on the air because it was filthy.
This ain't filthy.
Oh,
This
ain't filthy. Okay. I just want to say he can have a tendency towards potty mouth.
I think if they hadn't have figured out that the mic was hot when they did, it might have gotten filthy. But there were a lot of microphones around, and he knew that. All right, so what is going on with the Republican Party? If you're watching NBC or CBS or ABC, or if you're reading anything from the AP,
you talk about the word rift comes up. Chasm.
Implosion. The
circular firing squad,
death throes. If you're listening to the progressive media, you're going to think that the Republican Party is disintegrating, and they may be onto something.
Let me just throw this question out there, and let's just get this ball rolling because we got a lot to move through tonight.
We'll get it rolling.
All right, Marty. If I told you, hey man, I think the Republican Party is just going to explode tomorrow, and In your mind, good thing, bad thing?
It would be. It could be a good thing. It could also be as far as a lot of people are concerned, a non-event because of what would happen afterwards.
Yeah, because
the progressive media seems to think that if the Republican Party should disintegrate, right?
That means Democrats will control everything, right?
Everything. There won't be anything in its place. It's almost as if they have forgotten how the Republican Party came into being to begin with.
And you think it's maybe because some people have a confusion about exactly where that rift is in the Republican Party, like who's on which side, who's on each side of the rift.
Well, it can be a who's on first type of equation.
I think it's pretty easy.
Well, on the one hand, you've got
the progressive wing,
what we would call the old establishment Republicans, which Casey also just said, the progressive wing. of the
let's just call, like
Party.
I said,
that's exactly what they are.
We got so much stuff to get through tonight. Marty and I don't have the luxury of not being blunt about this.
But they want to call themselves centrists or moderates.
Yeah, moderates.
We call them fence stragglers. Is another way.
And man,
a coward is another word for them.
I know you've heard this before because we both grew up in the same area.
Uh-huh.
What do you get when you sit on the fence?
Splinters.
And a sore butt.
And a sore butt, yeah.
All right. So, our country right now, we can't have the fence sitters.
Well, the fence sitters do, as just like you just said. That it's funny because they do have a case of a sore behind right now.
They sound the term "butt hurt."
Butt hurt
comes right up to mind.
Other letter.
That's red stuff.
The red butt. They've got a case of that. I heard that kicked around, and it's true. It is with the other part of the Republican Party, which would be more along the lines of the Tea Party, Constitutionalists, the more libertarian wing of it,
and actually the true conservative wing of the. And I would just like to make this point. Hey, man, that conservative part, that's that base that everybody keeps referring to around election time about who can mobilize a base.
Well, the progressive wing of the Republican Party and the Democrats, or progressives, period, however you want to put it, they really want you to believe that this is a very small part of the Republican Party. The president, when he's been making his speeches and attacking the Republicans, you notice he's not attacking Republicans in general anymore. He's talking about
that
this
wing
one
of the party,
small faction of the Republican Party. As they're trying to marginalize it. Again, they want to marginalize the Tea Party and their influence as if they're very insignificant. It's just a couple of bad apples in the bunch. There's not even enough of them to make a difference. Well, if that were the case, Mr. President, then why are you talking about them so often? Why are they in every speech you make?
And since they're in every speech that you make, you must be considering them a threat. If there was only a couple of them, this little small minuscule number, because you know what? Let's just tell people who that wing of the party really is.
That would be
we don't even have to call names here, because it's not the Ted Cruz's and he's in that wing,
right?
Okay, and Mike Lee and those folks, they're in that wing. But see, that wing of politics in the United States is actually, probably 95% of those people that we go to church with.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. They're the people who see we have the United States Constitution, which is actually a pretty simple document. Everybody, at least those of us from our generation and backwards, okay, we were taught in school about the Constitution, and we're made to memorize articles, which article covers what, and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, we all learned that. So, and we can understand our United States Constitution.
Right.
The rest of us out here, we're in that wing, that Tea Party wing, because whether folks want to call themselves by the Tea Party name, The Tea Party is representing just that, just the Constitution of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because we can all understand that. You don't have to be politically sophisticated.
It's
you
a
don't
wing
have
that understands equal opportunity and equal outcomes are two different things. And
Yes.
this wing of the Republican Party is more of an equal opportunity
exactly.
group of people and not trying to guarantee any equal outcomes.
Right. So that's that wing. That's everybody. That is what you call the Republican base.
But maybe,
the other wing that you're talking about, that progressive wing, since they're obfuscating and they're trying to cover up what they truly believe,
Right.
which is that more government is better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then
that
there's,
wing,
you hear them say things like, we recognize that there are parts of the government that the American public just can't do without.
Yeah, they say that a lot. Okay, those folks, look, they're not. I don't think we go to church with any of those folks. I don't think I know anybody in this community that represents those folks that isn't a member of the old guard
But
Republican
I'll tell you
Party.
this, they do have reach.
They do,
That group of the Republican Party.
and they have money.
Make no mistake, there is a serious rift in the Republican Party.
Mhm,
and
in
it
the
is
party.
It is one of the larger gulfs that politics has seen in a long time. There's a lot of people saying that this is, signaling a serious breakup of political parties. I mean, just like the ones that brought the Republican Party out to begin with.
Now, the thing is, since the folks that are the elected officials that are in that wing, look, they've been voting with the Democrats anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't need their vote. We don't care. Because the actual people of the United States, when it really comes down to it, party affiliation isn't the most important thing to them when they go to vote.
That's
Okay,
true.
they are looking, see, because most of it, there aren't as many straight ticket voters out there as people like to think there are. Okay,
No, most people vote for the
locally they're
voting.
voting for people that they know.
Right.
Okay, when it get up to the state level, they're voting for people, kind of on reputation, who's conservative or who's liberal.
Right.
Okay, that's really how the voting breaks down into conservative versus progressive / liberal. Okay,
Well, now that's down on our level.
Yes,
But
that's
when
on our
you start
level.
Getting in the politicians' level.
yeah, then it
themselves,
splinters.
Like, and what has happened? I've been listening to Glenn Beck these past few days.
Mm-hmm.
He's been saying that he was going to tell a story that he's been wanting to tell for since the election, but that he couldn't. It wasn't just the IRS that was targeting the Tea Party.
No,
there was
were,
a rift within the Tea Party itself. I mean, there was a lot of frustration going on at that time because of the IRS delving into them so deeply and keeping them from fundraising and everything. And in the midst of all that, Freedom Works was right in the middle of what could only be called a coup or a hostile takeover. See, you had Matt Kibbe and Dick Armey. Now, Dick Armey was in the Republican circles. He
old
is
guard,
one of the big dogs.
old soldier.
Yeah, been around a long time. And when Freedom Works first came into being, Dick Armey was very instrumental in that. He had a lot of contacts with Republican money, and he could really help them out when it came to fundraising. But the thing is that Dick Armey, like Casey said, was old guard Republican, very much establishment.
Old warhorse Republican.
Another
type
way of looking at it was to say he was a Republican operative.
Yeah.
He his whole raison d'etre, if you will, was to become a part of Freedom Works and try to take it down, from the inside. The Tea Party has always been a threat to the old establishment Republicans. When the Tea Party
But
first
you know
came
why?
out,
'Cause they don't
would try
control
to
them.
marginalize them and go, well, it's just it's more like a protest group. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, you know, some people getting together, and they kept getting more and more organized. And then Freedom Works came along, and they were, you know, kind of like the Sinn Féin of the conservative,
Yeah.
or the Republican Party. They were the money, you know, the money makers, the guys who could go out and fundraise and help the Tea Party get candidates and
Right.
and help them with publicity. And then Dick Armey tried to take over. He had Matt Kibbe and all of the people that he looked at as Matt Kibbe's friends and advocates, and had them escorted out of the building. Just took them over. And then, you know, Matt Kibbe called Glenn Beck, and he's like, Glenn, check this out. Well, you know, Glenn, he knew Matt Kibbe, and he'd had many conversations with him and had worked with him on a whole bunch of different occasions, knew what kind of guy he was. He also knew what kind of guy Dick Armey was.
Right.
Dick Armey calls him and tells him a completely different story, and he's like, you know, now I'm going to be the face of Freedom Works, and you know, I want to work with you, because, see, Dick Armey had never been on Glenn Beck's show.
Right.
And when Glenn, you know, found out what really went down there at Freedom Works, he called some of the board members of Freedom Works and said, you know,
Y'all ain't got to have my money.
yeah, I give you guys a lot of money, and I know everybody else that gives you money. And if you allow this coup to stand, then you will get not one iota of support from me or many of my fellow conservatives. The libertarian influence of Freedom Works must be allowed a place at the table. You're not going to turn this into just another old guard establishment Republican wing of the. No, it's not
Funding old guard
Yeah.
establishment.
Your bully tactics are not going to happen here. And eventually, you know, Matt Kibbe was reinstated. Dick Armey and all of his followers were summarily escorted out of the building by security, and justice prevailed, and there was balance once again in the force.
And Matt Kibbe was back in the driver's seat where he needs to be.
But what
now,
makes that
I'm glad
perfect
you brought
now-
this up, because right before the show, I was a little late getting in here, if you remember. I was busy donating $10 to Freedom Works, and you're about to tell people why. And it's
Well-
partially because of what you just said about Matt Kibbe. The other thing, and I can't repeat this on the air because I wrote him a nice letter, and I said, and also because of what they did, you know, what happened with Matt Kibbe, is why I'm giving them the money. And the other reason is because of Mitch McConnell, because this ties into what we talked about this last Tuesday.
Well, it's
didn't we?
it's more than just Mitch McConnell. See, Mitch is he is one of the he's one of the guys that was in that meeting that we were talking about. You know, just wanting to call out Ted Cruz and all the Tea Partiers and
Right.
and you know, lambast them in the press and everything. But it's not just him. Remember, we've already said, John Cornyn, you're done. Because remember, John Cornyn was fighting against Ted Cruz too, and he's a fellow Texan.
Right. And so we said
But John Cornyn controls the purse strings for the Senate Republicans. As far as campaigning and everything goes.
and campaign money, he decides where the money goes,
That's
and
right.
how much, and all that kind of stuff.
Now, Glenn Beck says that somebody in that meeting stood up and said, if you take money from Freedom Works or the Senate Conservative Fund,
yeah.
you are my enemy. They tried to pick candidates to run against me, and they will get no money from this part of the from us, none. So, you know, senators now are kind of reluctant to want to, speak up one way or the other, because they know if Cornyn catches wind of it, if Cornyn catches wind of any of these guys taking money from
He's going to cut their money off.
That's right.
So now, and I know we need to move on. So we'll get to the end of the show, But this ties into every time we do a show, we tell y'all, there's something you can do to affect the outcome of politics. When we get to the end,
you can effectively defund the Republican Party until they get some act right.
And the
if
only
they don't
people
get act right, then they will go the way of the Whigs.
Well, keep in mind, the old guard Republicans are going to have old guard money. People who just can't imagine not donating money to their campaigns. Hey, there's a lot of that money out there, and folks, we can't do anything about that money.
But there's a whole lot more other money out there that there's people with pretty deep pockets that are looking for a better way.
Exactly. And
they don't want to give to the Republicans anymore. They're as sick of them as we are, and they got money. They got money to give.
There's a few of those people out there. So the side of us, and like I said, all those people we go to church with, all these people here in Calhoun County.
Don't be afraid to write to John Cornyn either and say, hey, I know you control the purse strings. Well, guess what? I just gave my money to Freedom Works or to the Senate Conservative Fund because I can't trust you with it. So if you don't have any money to disperse, you can't bully anybody.
Yeah. So it comes right down to the meat. You really want to do something, and man, I gave Freedom Works $10 because it's all I could. Okay? I started to split it up. 5 to them and 5, but I thought, no, I need to just concentrate it where I can. And so I donated to Freedom Works because I really like Matt Kibbe. I've watched him over the last few years and the events that he puts on and all that.
Part of what makes Freedom Works so important is that they have a true understanding of how to communicate in the new millennium. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons that the Republicans have shouldered so much of the blame all these years is because they really were old stuffy old men that are pretty closed-minded, and they're not interested in that Twitter or getting on no Facebook, or they don't care about any of that stuff, and to them that's not how you campaign. You don't need to use things like that. Well, Freedom Works they spend their money showing everyday Americans how to use social media to help
educate
their candidates and to help educate other Americans how to organize. That Freedom Works is showing us how to use the same things that the Democrats have been experts at all these years. The Democrats, as of right now, they control all the mainstream press, but there's so many other outlets, and ways of communicating out there that they can have the mainstream press. Freedom Works, that's what they do, and because of people like Freedom Works, all these other little organizations have been popping up, like Project Veritas, using social media and like YouTube and things like that to get the word out and to show these, what they really are, who these people really are. And that brings us to my first little clip of audio tonight. Because all of this talk about the rift in the Republican Party, the progressives really want you to think that, see, we're winning. They're divided.
Yeah, see, the assumption that they're making is that, if the Republican Party disintegrates, Democrats own politics at that point.
And that they'll have to believe everything we say.
And they totally forget.
And they keep
that
pushing.
The people that they deal with day to day in the Beltway, they're what the Republican Party is for you. For the rest of the country, though, which is way more people than that.
Oh, yeah.
Is like, wait a minute. They don't talk.
Let's take a trip to, a liberal place,
a
progressive state, and let's see, because, college campuses, that the left loves to
the term
to work.
Can we say hotbeds of liberalism? Because I've been wanting to.
Oh, yes. They love colleges. Progressive love universities because that's where they can,
It's the only smart people in the country are in universities.
Oh, well, that's where they start molding these minds, and getting the message across. Well, this guy goes to University of Colorado in Boulder, all right? And he's asking the simple question, who do you blame for this shutdown? Because if you're listening to the mainstream press, it's, the Republicans are losing this, outright. Everybody blames the Republicans, and the America knows the truth. The Republicans did this, and they hate Granny. But check this out. This is just it's 2.5 minutes. But some of these answers will surprise you. Well, all of them surprised me. Here we go.
The University of Colorado, it's Obama's fault.
Who do you believe is responsible for the government shutdown?
Who do I believe?
Obama, for sure.
You blame Obama?
Yeah, definitely.
Everybody's blaming Obama and the Democrats. Is this normal?
No, I don't think so, but I'm glad.
Just being really stubborn. Not really negotiating at all, not taking any ideas from anybody else. It's either his way or the highway, and apparently we got to shut down the government because of that.
Who do you blame for the government shutdown?
President Obama. For the first time in 17 years, Republicans in Congress chose to shut down the federal government.
Who do you blame? Ooh, you know who it sounded like they was blaming to me?
It sounded like they were saying Obama.
Man, on the video, you can see, he's got this little chalkboard thing, and it Obama, 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 Obama. There's a few over here blaming the Democrats. One person blamed both parties, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody was going to blame the GOP, but you can see that they
squiggled it out.
Yeah, it's like they changed their mind and went, no, you know what? You're right. It's Obama. Some of this stuff, we were talking last or Tuesday about these people think that we're really that stupid. They really believe that the American people as a whole are watching them at night and listening to their narrative and are going, I do believe it's the Republicans' fault.
And they just completely forget. This is not 1965 anymore.
That's right.
As far as getting information, we've got more than the local newspaper. We've got more than the magazine press. We have more than ABC, CBS, and NBC, and one public television station.
But, Rush Limbaugh said he's worried that the Republicans are about to snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory because he's concerned that they're going to start believing the mainstream press themselves when they know better. The Republicans are winning this narrative, the war of the narrative, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even so much that because people are believing their narrative over the progressive narrative, it's that people are seeing it with their own eyes, man. You can't make this stuff up.
No, the president gets out and says in almost so many words that, hey, I'm not negotiating because the Republicans ain't hurt bad enough yet.
Which brings us to another piece of audio. Because, see, that little speech there, that's coming back and biting them on the behind already.
We said that was going to hit a nerve.
The mayor of D.C., Washington, D.C., the city itself, or the District of Columbia, they need to use some money.
That belongs to them.
That belongs to them. And the Republicans, those mean old Republicans, in this piecemeal approach, they've sent the legislation through. Absolutely. We believe you should get to use it too. So, yes, we'll take it to the Senate. Here, Senate, we passed a bill. And Harry Reid, I don't want to look at that. We're not gonna work with this piecemeal approach. It's ridiculous. We're not even gonna consider it.
They just told D.C. that you can't use your own money because, see, they have to go through Congress
can't
to get
touch that. That's
yeah.
what they say. So y'all can't touch this.
It may be your money. It comes from tax revenue that you raised yourself and all that.
But you can't use it.
But you can't use it. Your citizens, that's not your money anymore. We're saying that you, as citizens of D.C., we're not going to let the city use any of your money.
That's right. Sorry, that's just the way it is because the Republicans hadn't suffered enough. Well, the mayor of D.C., he was giving a press conference about this very thing. And he looks over and sees Harry Reid and some of the other troglodytes giving a press conference of their own. And he's like, wait just a minute. So he walks over there and he stands by Harry Reid, which, ooh, how dare he, a lowly mayor, go and take his position standing at the right hand of a mighty senator, the mighty Harry Reid.
The mightiest of mighty senators.
Ooh. And then, not only then, but he dare get in Harry's face and, more or less say what you talking about, Willis. Why are you doing this? Well, they didn't realize the microphones were hot right there. And listen to what Harry told the man.
For 4 seconds, the mayor is, look, we just want to spend our own money, sir. You're cutting us off. We want to spend our own money. We're shut down. You're hurting us. And Reid says, I'm on your side. Don't screw it up. In other words, shut up for now.
We're simply trying to be able to spend our own money, sir.
I'm on your side. Don't screw it up. I'm on your side. Don't screw it up.
Listen again.
Guy may get the Joe the Plumber.
Listen again.
We're simply trying to be able to spend our own money, sir.
I'm on your side. Don't screw it up.
I'm on your side. Don't screw this up. In other words, look, you're just going to have to suffer for just a little bit longer, all right?
Until
but
I
if
say
you start
don't.
making waves, well, and we're never going to. You can just kiss it goodbye.
So there's a rift in the Republican Party.
Oh yeah.
But all the Democrats are together on this. Don't look that way, does it?
No.
Because if really I'm not, look, Washington D.C. I don't remember how long it's been since they've had a Republican mayor. I think you would have to go way back in history to find one.
Well,
and so that makes him, if he's not a Republican and he's definitely not independent, that mayor is a Democrat, folks.
Well, either way, he dared question.
He's questioning Harry Reid. That's a rift.
Oh yeah, and it's funny. It's funny. They can't help themselves. They the Democrats really believe that they're winning so much that they don't even care who knows why they're doing this. And one of the reporters today, after John Boehner he was giving his own press conference, they're like, well, if the president, if he'll agree to this six week extension on the debt limit, because the Republicans they're trying to show the world, look, we're willing to work here. Just give us 6 weeks. We'll pass a 6-week extension on the debt limit, just long enough for us to come to the table. And he's like, well, listen to the reporter's question, man. And listen to Boehner's response. It was the response of the day.
Will you reopen the government if the president doesn't agree?
Merry Christmas.
I love that. Will you reopen the government? I love how she's asking John Boehner, though. She was from the AP, of course.
Right.
Asking John Boehner, will you reopen the government if the president agrees to this? What, John Boehner closed the government? Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it Barack Obama that has been ordering all of these parks to make it really difficult for tourists and everything and closing them down? Isn't it on orders of the president himself to kick some of these old folks out of their home that just happen to live on federal land?
Yes.
Wasn't it the president that said he's not willing to negotiate?
Yes, he's actually the only one who's been saying he's not willing to negotiate.
So why ask if John Boehner's going to just right off, first of all, why ask John Boehner if he can reopen it? And John Boehner, more or less, he knows that. And he also knows that the president's not exactly going to be all that keen on signing anything that's going to make the Republicans, look responsible. So, if, ands, and buts was candy and nuts. Every day it'd be Christmas. I love the almost exasperation in his voice.
If the president doesn't agree to do anything to change Obamacare.
If ands and buts were candy and nuts, every day it'd be Christmas.
He's got to be tired of these same, they don't mind throwing him all of the really, tough questions as if it's all on his shoulders and the Republican Party's shoulders. But the president is standing right there in front of him, and nobody asks him any questions about Obamacare.
Not
None.
a one.
Not a single question was asked about Obamacare. Nobody, like, Mr. President, is it true that Hawaii had to reset everything because they thought the system was broken because nobody had enrolled? Or, Mr. President, how come your Obamacare website ain't working?
Or, Mr. President, if John Boehner doesn't come through and allow Obamacare to be funded, will you negotiate? Not that. They didn't talk about that. They talked about John Boehner reopening government. See?
But thank goodness, there's news outlets like MSNBC.
Oh, thank goodness for MSNBC. The MSNBC to the rescue.
Well, they couldn't get anything out of the president. They wanted to ask him about it. But
yeah, they really
did.
I'm sure they did.
He wouldn't call on them in the press conference. So they waited, and they knew that if you want, the truth about Obamacare, and you need to find somebody that's, that has a wealth of knowledge about it. So they went to Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the head of the DNC. Because after all, there is no better spokesman for Obama. No one would defend him.
That's who I would go to explain any complex issue would be Debbie Downer.
Oh, yeah, because, hey, man, she knows. And all this guy wanted to know was how come, what kind of numbers are we talking about here? How many people are going to this thing? You keep talking about, how successful it is. So how many people are signing up? Everybody's been wanting to ask that. Now, oddly enough, they had the president right there.
Right.
And don't tell me he don't know. I mean, he knows. He's got it down to the number, to the digit, to the nth. He knows. It might be depressing to him, but he knows.
He doesn't want to know that he knows.
But listen, but Debbie's going to explain to you how come, you shouldn't be asking the president that.
And certainly journalists about the data of how many people are actually signing up, accessing Obamacare. So where is that number?
So clearly, we're 8 days in, and to be insisting on data being produced day by day for a 6-month enrollment program that is a little bit unfair. And the good news that came out of this problem, and HHS has acknowledged that there's obviously been some technological problems with the server, but the good news out of that is that the servers were apparently designed to anticipate about 50,000 people a day going on the website and moving around, and it turns out it's been 250,000 a day. So it's very clear that there is demand, that it's also clear that they need to fix those technological bugs. I don't know any software program or app, for that matter, by any high-tech company that doesn't have bugs and fixes that need to be made in the first few days of the rollout. And so that's why in part why there's a 6-month enrollment plan. So, what the analogy that I've used repeatedly is that the Republicans, because they don't like their kitchen redesign, are trying to burn their house down. And that's what they're doing by trying to take the government down with them and our economy. We need, and we've acknowledged all along, like we've done for more than 200 years, Thomas, if there are problems that arise through the implementation of the Affordable Care Act, which inevitably with a change this big there will be, we need to work together to fix those. But what the Republicans are trying to do, they don't really want to fix the problems. They don't even acknowledge or agree that everyone should have access in America to quality, affordable health care. That is the rub. And they don't accept that President Obama was reelected last November. It is time to work together and move on. Even Al Gore, who vehemently disagreed with the Supreme Court decision that made George W. Bush president in 2000, accepted that the Supreme Court's ruling was the final say and moved on. And the country moved on. That's what our democracy...
I can't take it no more. It just ain't fair to ask the president for them numbers.
Well, not
there's
only
no
that,
way they could know every day down to the minute. Well,
and it's the Republicans' fault anyway.
I don't know who did their website for them, but all right, one. At any given moment, Casey or I can log on to our website and know exactly how many people have visited that day. As a matter of fact, we know what page of the website was looked at the most. We know what hours of the day there was the most traffic.
And you know how much? Now, guess how much we pay for that?
How much we pay for that?
I believe it's $9.99 a month.
Well, I'll be darned.
That's
$9.
$9.
We're not paying $630 million?
No,
because that's what the Obamacare website cost. Another thing, she said, that there was good news that website, gosh, the way it was set up, it was only set up to handle, 50,000 visitors in a day. I mean, that's a lot to come to the website, 50,000 visits in a day, and they have like 250,000. 50,000 hits a day. Man, our website can handle 50,000 hits a day
for $9.99 a month.
And this lady's trying to say that. Now, I'm sure they're gonna say, well, she just got the numbers wrong. Yeah, I believe she did. Matt, the Drudge Report. Now, I don't want to tell a story, so I'm going to click here and I'm going to open up the Drudge Report because on the Drudge Report down there towards the bottom of it, over on the right hand side,
it tells you what the hit count is.
You can get a pretty accurate reading or a pretty good estimate of their hit count.
And I bet you Matt Drudge ain't paying any more for his than we do ours.
In the past 24 hours, the Drudge Report has had 34,340,648 visits in 24 hours. And their website, I feel pretty sure that their website did not cost $630 million. But the Obamacare website cost $630 million. And you know what kind of dollars? Taxpayer dollars. We, you and me, and everybody who's listening, we paid $630 million for a website that for some strange reason can't seem to handle 50,000 hits a day.
You know what? I bet our website designer, Rich Brooks, could do it for only $600 million.
I think we should give him Rich's number and just tell him, look, Rich can hook y'all up, man.
I bet you he can do it even for under $300 million. I bet you.
Oh, my. And they act like, how could you even ask such a question? I bet you that nobody asked any of these other software makers any of these questions or that they've got bugs too. Yeah, most of the time they fix it before they roll them out.
And usually whatever bugs are there when they roll out don't just crash the site for everybody.
And they don't, oddly enough, you don't get penalized if you don't want to use that website.
Now, there's another thought.
Oh, I see in our little chat room there on Spreaker, we have some listeners from the wonderful country of Ireland. Ireland is listening. So, welcome, Ireland. We're sorry you're having to hear our dysfunctional family here.
Yeah, because dude.
But, look, dude, there is some more good news. And I don't think Debbie knew about this set of good news. But they've got a great commercial for Obamacare.
The Heritage Foundation put it out, yeah.
Well, look, man, the Heritage Foundation, they knew that Obama was going to be having some trouble with this website, all right? They knew that it was going to be tough for them, so they're trying to help, man.
They're just helping.
They're just trying to help. And it's an awesome commercial. I'd love to play it for you. Can I play it?
Play it, please.
Oh, well, good. Because,
I haven't seen it yet.
As a citizen, I think it is my duty. It is incumbent upon me to,
to help.
To help. Right. So I'm going to help, and I'm going to play the commercial.
Now I'm covered.
Now, for the first time, you can be covered. If you've been waiting to be covered in mandates, regulations, and new fees, the time is finally here. Sort of. You guys stop showing that screen. So make some coffee.
I'm covered.
Approach life with reckless abandon. Kick your feet up.
I'm covered.
Because you're going to be in the waiting room for quite a while. But don't you worry your pretty little head off. First of all, it wouldn't be covered.
We're covered.
No, I said it would not be covered.
Now we're covered.
No, that's not... Yeah, I don't think you understood what I meant by covered earlier. It was a little bit ironic. Seriously, stop showing that screen. Healthcare.gov is not responsible for fulfilling any of the expectations, mandates, legal requirements, hopes, or dreams of any users. Results may vary. Consult your Obamacare-approved doctor or pharmacist to find out if Obamacare is right for you. Current waiting lists to have your doctor chosen for you are unavailable and will remain so for the foreseeable future. Obamacare may cause wait times, a decline in healthcare quality, money loss, political activism, anger, despair, hopelessness, frustration, European envy, pendants, and nausea. If you discover that your premiums have gone up as a result of Obamacare, please note that the program is working as intended and refrain from complaining. Call your doctor if you experience anxiety for longer than 4 hours. If you wish to opt out of Obamacare for any reason, please start a multi-million-dollar business, join a union, or run for Congress.
Now, wasn't that special?
That was a good commercial right there.
You really got to see, watch the YouTube video of it to really appreciate it, because they keep showing that screen that says that the website's jacked out.
Oh, yeah.
Really, stop showing that screen. That's awesome, man. That was great. Hat tip to the Heritage Foundation for that, because a lot of work went into that.
Yes, it did. And I feel like they've made things clearer. It's rare to say, that a commercial actually, makes things clear, but that
truth
did.
in advertising, man.
Exactly.
Because if you're ready to get hit with unreasonable fees, you're covered.
That's right.
If you're ready to be hit with completely unreasonable regulations,
mandates.
Mandates. Lots of them.
And I don't like mandates.
If you're ready to lose your doctor, you're covered, buddy.
You're covered, bud.
That's right.
It's all you.
If you're ready for the government to tell you that you're too old to have that hip replacement because you don't have enough time to be of any use to society, well, then you're covered.
You're covered.
If you're ready, the Republicans might have been willing to push Memo off the cliff, but don't you worry, Obamacare won't let that happen. They'll starve poor Granny to death before they shove her off a cliff. She will die much slower.
Yeah, when they cut off her chemo, it won't be much longer.
Oh man. Well, that's not all of the audio. I did say I had some good one. I got one more piece, man, and it's Jim Jordan grilling the IRS. Now, we haven't talked about the IRS in a while.
No, we've been so busy with Obamacare, but this ties into Obamacare. When and I mentioned yesterday, I think when I posted that video that this woman who Jim Jordan is grilling, she's going to be in charge of implementing Obamacare.
No, is in charge,
yeah.
Not going to be.
Yeah, that's right.
She left her position as Lois Lerner's supervisor.
That's right.
To take this position with the implementation of Obamacare. And she swears, Casey, that she had no idea that mean old Lois Lerner was doing all of that snooping and ordering the audits of these Tea Party groups.
Hey, man. It's been 5 months since they started these hearings.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't heard from this woman.
We were supposed to a couple
So
of
we're
times.
just now finding out that she didn't know? It took 5 months to get her in front of this congressional committee. I mean, I'm just saying.
Oh, and now she's had some pretty big wheels covering for her now. Writing to this committee and saying, look, she just ain't got time to be fooling with that. After all, she's got a whole lot of Obamacare to shove down a whole lot of throats. She can't be messing with you right now. She'll get to y'all when she can. But when she does get there, just like Lois Lerner, man, she ain't telling nobody anything.
Was Jim Jordan, was he happy about that?
Well, let's see, shall we?
Let's see.
I think it's safe to say, though, that if you or I or some of our listeners was going to get the chance to say some things to this woman, I think he covered us.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to say, finally she's here. We've been trying for 5 months to get Miss Ingram in front of this committee. I was beginning to think there was no such person as Sarah Hall Ingram. I mean, a couple months ago, Chairman Langford and I had a joint subcommittee scheduled. Miss Ingram was supposed to be in front of that committee, but Mr. Warfall called up and said, nope, she's not coming, I am instead. Months we've been trying to get this lady in front. Here's the lady who, as the chairman said, is at the center of the storm of two of the biggest issues this country has dealt with in recent history: the targeting of conservative groups and implementation of Obamacare. Here's a lady who was Lois Lerner's direct boss, and today's the first time she's been in front of this committee after this scandal's been known about for 5 months. Here's a lady who for the last 3 years has been head of the Office for Implementing the Affordable Care Act, and today's the first time she comes in front of the committee. I mean, this is unbelievable. Two of the biggest issues facing the country, and the first time she comes in front of the Government Oversight Committee. And Mr. Cummings brings up the letter that we got yesterday from Mr. Warfall. They tried again yesterday to not have her be here. So it raises just one simple question. Why? What does she know that the IRS doesn't want this committee, this Congress, and the American people to know? What does she know about the Affordable Care? What are they trying to hide? So I'm Mr. Chairman, thanks for your persistence. I'm glad it finally happened.
It's a good question, isn't it? Why? Why has it taken so long? Why is the Obama administration itself making all these efforts to shield this woman? What does she know? And even if we knew exactly, what sort of information this woman's got, would she even tell anybody? I mean, would she be truthful about it? I mean, I think that's sort of how she got the position that she's got now.
Well,
because they know she won't.
Look, in that clip where she was trying to answer Trey Gowdy's questions, number one, she would never answer the question that he was asking.
Right.
She can't say yes, no direct answers to a direct question. It starts out with your whole question is wrong. Your whole premise of your question is absolutely wrong.
That's not the question you should be asking.
Yeah, and, basically delivering a lecture on why it's just so wrong for the question to be phrased the way that they're coming to her, because that's just not how things are done. And it's all bureaucraties, obfuscation.
Mm-hmm.
This woman just cannot be direct. This is who is in charge of the most intimate details of your life.
They want to make people
and she can't answer a direct question, will not be accountable.
They want to make people like Casey and I seem like we're off our rockers for asking questions like this or wanting to know what this woman knows, almost like we're conspiracy freaks or something like that. But Casey summed it up pretty good. This woman is in charge of the most intimate details of our lives. And part of the questioning that she's having, or part of the things she's having to answer for right now, is that she disclosed confidential taxpayer information to the White House.
Which by the way,
a violation of the law.
Yes.
That has a potential for 5 years imprisonment for each person's information that she divulged.
So
those, I think, the questions that that we're asking here, it's not so much that do they deserve an answer, but why are we the one? Why? First of all,
why are we
just
begging
now being
this woman?
asked, and why is it being left to people like conservative bloggers, talk radio, and one or two congressmen who are asking these questions? I mean, look, even with the left-leaning slant that you get with newspapers and print media and what you see on television, these stories have been out there all this time. The information is out there. Why are more Americans not wanting to know the answers to these things? Why isn't more Americans calling their senators or their congressmen and saying, hey, man,
Make that old heifer answer some questions.
I know it wasn't my information, but it could have been my information that got turned over and looked at by the wrong people. Will you please do something about this? Could you maybe, I don't know, poke your nose into it and see? That's, after all, what we hired you to do. When you were elected, you're supposed to be there representing me. And if I were there, I would be trying to dig into this and investigate a little bit and maybe get some answers here. What does this woman know? And why is the Obama administration trying to protect this woman so much? I mean, it's getting to where the people there at the IRS, he's starting to protect them like they was part of his college transcripts or something.
Ooh, you brought that up.
Well, look, man, we're at the end of our rainbow.
So, yeah, we are. Now, look, y'all. This again, we've told y'all at the beginning of the show. You don't have to sit back here and be all helpless.
Nope. There's something you can do.
'Cause the thing is politicians have played dirty pool by using money.
Yep.
That's how they do this to us, folks. You know what? We can turn right around and do it right back to them with using our own money. It don't take a lot.
And
from each person, it doesn't take a lot. Like I said, I sent $10 to FreedomWorks today. I would encourage you out there, if you can do $5.
If I'm wanting to do something with my money,
mm-hmm.
like if I'm wanting to make a difference politically with money,
mm-hmm.
first of all, I would say, all right, who is the problem?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we know we've been
we talk about
that
the
out
problem
for a while now. We talk about problems all
problem
the time.
Children,
right? We know who they are. So if I'm wanting to use my money to fight them, I would say, all right. My next question would be, who scares them the most? Who is the biggest threat to them, and why? Well, that's where people like FreedomWorks and the Senate Conservative Fund come in. Because if you look at what they stand for, you would see, adherence to the Constitution, equal opportunity, freedom, liberty. You see words like that. Well, gosh, that's what I stand for. I think the Constitution is a pretty cool document. I don't think it should be changed. I don't think we should discard it. I think we should stick with it like we have for 200 years. I think that's a pretty good plan.
Better than we have for 200 years. I think everybody can agree with that. We need to stick to it a lot closer than we have been.
FreedomWorks uses words like small government or limited government, much the same way the founders of this country did. They were for a small, limited government.
The freedom of the individual.
Oh,
they
my
say that
gosh.
sometimes.
Oh, my gosh. That's what I believe.
So if
and these people scare the Obama camp? Well, I think I know where I want my $5 to go.
That's right. So
every little bit counts. And the fact that if they find out you're giving money to these places and not to the not to the RNC, oh my goodness. That's how you strike fear in their hearts. That's how you let them know that you're paying attention. Because that is their worst nightmare. That's why they had this closed-door meeting to berate Ted Cruz and Mike Lee. Because
there
were
are two
scared.
look, there are two things that every politician fears. Awake voters.
Yep.
And awake voters' money.
Yep. And they got Mike Lee and Ted Cruz in there, and they jumped all over them to show anybody else that if you go along with these guys, then this could be you. And we've got the money. And the notion that somebody is going, hey, you did that to Ted Cruz? Here, Ted, here's some money through FreedomWorks. Uh-oh.
Or even better, Ted, you're already in office. I think I'm going to go give the money to the guy who's running against that other fella that just said you was a dirty, low-down dog.
Oddly enough, John Cornyn is up for re-election.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a young fella by the name of Eric Wyatt.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
That FreedomWorks has put their eye on, and that the Tea Party down in that little area,
they say they like that white
they
fella.
think pretty highly of this guy. And if you go to his website and you read what he stands for, and he's a vet too. He served. He knows what serving the country really means. Oh, Mr. Cornyn.
I think you're going to need all that money that you control the purse strings to.
Boy, I tell you what, you better get to doing some legislation for unemployment, because I think you might be drawing it soon. It ain't going to be pretty.
I don't think it is going to be pretty.
And the thing is that John Cornyn, in his soul, he really believes that the people of Texas cannot see him for what he is. John Cornyn believes that Texas is still asleep. He's one of those Republicans that doesn't necessarily think that blue creeping into the state of Texas is a bad thing. Well, I got a pretty sneaking suspicion that the people of the great state of Texas are going to show John Cornyn just what they really believe.
Because the party base there in Texas, they really are conservatives. They are true conservatives.
And they really are upset with John Cornyn right now
and
for the things he said about Ted Cruz.
You know what else goes on in Texas?
What?
There's a whole lot of those conservative base that I was talking about living in Texas who got all kinds of money.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, dude, look. We got to stop. If
already?
We could sit here and gush over Ted Cruz for the rest of the night. And, man, quite frankly, I think that is not, going to be real good for either of us on the masculinity thing. I think if we start gushing over him like some sort of little schoolgirl, like we playing petty fingers in the holy water with him.
Are you saying that my reproductive chances could be impinged?
Yeah, I think we might all just go ahead and knock it off here. But we can't get out of here without mentioning a few people. Last week we got out of here, and I forgot to even mention one of our greatest pals, Going Beyond Radio, man. They're like, because of them, you can catch Honest Answer Radio on Live 365 and Shoutcast and Blueberry and
Roku.
Goodness gracious, man. So let me address that right now. Don't forget about Going Beyond Radio, because Honest Answer is not the only thing on there. They've even got progressive radio shows on there.
They do.
And if that's your bag, if you want to see how the other half lives, and if you would like to hear people like me and Casey, get called things like terrorists and arsonists and, baby killers and puppy rapists and everything else. Well, I'm sure you might get to hear that. They've got a lot of good paranormal stuff. If you're into the paranormal, the paranormal at all, Going Beyond Radio's got a whole bunch of paranormal for you. I mean, ooh-wee. And they get a pretty good amount of callers in those shows. So give them a listen. We also can't get out of here without letting everybody know that bacon
is meat candy is what it is.
Thank you. Absolutely.
And when I want meat candy, where do I go, Marty?
Why, you go to baconfreak.com, my friend.
But how do I get there, Marty?
Well, the best way to get there so that you can save a little extra money is to go there by honestanswerradio.com and go to their sponsors page and click on one of the little links there.
Well, I don't want to do that if I'm not going to get a deal.
Well, you get a deal now. And man, look, if you really want to fight the war, fight the good fight, in the war on Islamic fascist terrorism,
fight it with bacon.
Bacon. That's the way to do it, man. And the best way to fight that war with bacon is through baconfreak.com, because it's gourmet bacon and it's the bomb diggity. They got bacon pancakes. You could win the war on terror with bacon pancakes. I'm just
absolutely
saying. That ain't all, though. We can't get out of here without talking about myfoodstorage.com, because you know what, man? We're right in the middle of hurricane season. They ain't been none hit yet, but we're right there in the middle of it.
And winter is coming on, folks.
This is when snow starts falling and power lines start snapping and roads start closing, and you end up hungry.
And the refrigerators died, all this, and you ain't got any refrigeration and stuff. But if you had some food from myfoodstorage.com, you wouldn't be worried. You'd have good freeze-dried food. Just add some water, boom, there you go. You've got a gourmet dinner.
They've got freeze-dried meals, gourmet-type meals, 5 cheese, lasagna, and chicken not my king. They've got fruits and vegetables just by itself. You can order, freeze-dried strawberries. If that's all you want, hey, man, you can order it up. They got freeze-dried meats, everything. MyFoodStorage.com.
And I'll just say this about MyFoodStorage.com and their freeze-dried fruits. Look, that's about the easiest way to get together an apple pie.
Ain't that the
truth?
You
just add some hot water to that stuff, and there's your pie filling, man. I'm just saying.
But that's not all. Over there on our sponsors page, we got another must-have. You need to protect your identity in this new age.
Well, you can, and it's simple. You just need LifeLock.
LifeLock.com. For as little as $10 a month, your credit rating will be secure. You know why? Because if somebody tries to use your identity in any way, if they're trying to use your bank account number, your social security number, whatever, LifeLock.com will be right there to intercept it. They will call you and say, is this you? Are you doing this? And if it's not, they will nip it in the bud and stop it, and your identity will be secure. That's what they do. They are the best at it.
So
LifeLock.com.
If Vladimir up in Murmansk happens to be tapping into your credit card and about to buy himself a new mink coat.
Hello, my name is Peggy.
Yeah, that LifeLock puts the on that stuff.
And look, if you're a smoker and you're like us, you've smoked so long that it's getting to where it's hard to breathe, your chest is hurting, you're starting to, you're on the other side of 40, and you just can't keep this up very much longer. But you tried all them other ways of quitting smoking with the patches and the nicotine gum, and you tried shaking the Chantix, but it made you want to, bite the heads off of kittens and shoot your mother-in-law in the face. So that stuff didn't work.
But, there's hope.
V2
It's called
Cigs.
V2Cigs.com. It's an electronic cigarette. It's vapor that you inhale, not smoke, so there's no carbon monoxide, which competes with oxygen, makes you feel like crap.
There's none of the other chemicals that are involved in smoking, period.
There's none of that black, nasty tar that coats your lungs. There's none of that nasty odor that sticks in your clothes, because, you know why? Because with electronic cigarettes, the stuff don't even have to taste like tobacco or smell like tobacco.
Nicotine,
they have fruit flavors. They have cola. They have,
nicotine
vanilla.
in and of itself is no more harmful to you than caffeine. And you can even control the amount of nicotine you get with V2 Cigs.
That's right.
You can get 18 milligrams of nicotine. You can get like
12
milligrams. You can even get the vapor with no nicotine. However you want to do it. And they've got a little calculator on there that you can figure out how much you spend per year on cigarettes and how much, the same amount of V2 would cost. It will blow your mind how much money you'll save. Vaping is cheaper and it is safer than smoking the tobacco cigarettes.
And let me tell you, the fruit flavors, the cola flavors, like their cherry flavor, look, that is so much better tasting than a tobacco cigarette.
Yeah, and don't
Trust
fall
me.
for these little fly-by-night disposable jobs that you find in convenience stores. They suck.
Get yourself a real one that works.
And go to V2Cigs.com through the sponsors page over there at HonestAnswerRadio.com, because you can save yourself like an extra 10% that way. Hook it up, y'all. Now, speaking of HonestAnswerRadio.com, Honest Answer Radio ain't the only thing you can hear there.
No,
if you need
it's
some
not.
sports in your life,
then you need to be listening to Jeff and Sean at Sports World Radio. It's
fastest hour in sports, man.
I mean, the time flies by, because these guys, when they talk sports, they're talking about sports that they know. And these guys know what they're talking about. and they make it fly by because they're totally unrestricted. Even though the show is clean, they are not restricted by the straitjacket that seems to inhabit the brain of every other sportscaster you've ever heard.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff and Sean pick it up and put it down.
They wouldn't be on HonestAnswerRadio.com if they didn't.
That's right. And speaking of being able to pick it up and put it down.
Look, man, if you're looking around you and the state of the world just hurts your soul, if you are noticing that what was once right is now wrong, what was once wrong is now right, and you're just crushed spiritually, HonestAnswerRadio.com, we even got something for you there too.
We have
Challenge from the Heart with Brother Rick Hope.
Yes, Pastor Rick.
He's
not one of those preachers that I've never heard Rick ask for money.
But you know what?
He never talks about my ministry. You don't hear that from Rick. What you hear from Rick is gospel.
Rick is going to give you unvarnished Jesus Christ.
Yep.
He is going to fill the hole in your soul. I'm telling you. And you know what? He's even a Texan. Now I know what y'all
don't hold that against him.
I know you're thinking that there ain't no way that Jesus would have anything to do with a Texan, but you know what? I have come to find out that Jesus even likes Texans.
He even loves them, I hear.
And I'll tell you something else. You will never find anybody that loves Jesus Christ any more than Pastor Rick Hope. They might love him as much, but Billy Graham himself can't love Jesus any more than Rick Hope. And in this day and age, that is saying something, brother.
Amen.
If you need Jesus, and believe me, y'all, you do need Jesus.
Or if you just want to hear, you've already got Jesus, but you want to hear somebody talking from the Word, from the Bible, Rick is the man to go to because everything he says on the air, when Rick is talking, he is talking from the Scripture.
That's right.
And so you get it that way. And
I credit that man with the redemption of my very own soul. He led me back to Jesus, and if he can do that, oh my goodness, there's hope for all of y'all. Because
I'm trying. I probably shouldn't agree with that as strongly as I do, but y'all, if you just knew.
Woo! All right, y'all. Well, we're going to get out of here. This is Thursday. We'll see you guys again on Tuesday. Have a safe weekend. Please be good to each other.
Be exceptional Americans.
Amen. And you know what? Thank you to Ireland for coming in. A little Irish bug, man, thank you. That just tickles me, warms my soul. All right. We're out of here, you guys. Have a good weekend.
Good night, y'all.